Live tonight, Architects of Humanity. I'm maxed out. When someone turns into Agent Smith. So I think basically everybody has encountered this situation, possibly even aware enough to when we can see the Agent Smiths that have been implanted in us since we were younger begins to come out. And our mind is so powerful, we can compartmentalize him and keep him in a sort of a prison of the mind. But when we see Agent Smith come out of somebody else, like on the thumbnail, it can be kind of creepy. I mean, it can be frightening to see that come out, something to defend programming that's within them. So when someone turns into Agent Smith, it can be some serious stuff. It can infect you. What does Agent Smith do? He pops out trying to put you back into the matrix to sequester your thinking. Agent Smith is the one like the thing we showed yesterday. On the left, sunny. On the right, fear. Same temperature, different colors. So Agent Smith is worse than just the no free thought and the military's behind everything. Agent Smith comes from the citizen that's right there, the person that you think is cool with you, but ends up being someone trying to assimilate. Forged in the flesh, good to see you, brother. He says, true. I've never noticed my own programming into. I look at others, I can't see the same patterns in them, and I recognize it in myself definitely. Sometimes it pops out. You know, the more you look for it, the more you'll be able to recognize it, definitely. Rick James stopping to drop by, number one like. Thank you, brother. Always a pleasure, man. Rick James, the name says it all, man. Man, the myth, the legend. Yes, so when I go into Agent Smith syndrome, as we've talked about on previous streams, which is a very important thing to recognize that when that comes out in someone, it can come out a little at a time or all at once. You know, Agent Smith lurks. The one thing, though, when he comes out, you'll know who he is if you train yourself to recognize it and don't fall into it. Sometimes Agent Smith comes out of somebody and then the other person turns into Agent Smith as well. So we can notice that just by observing people. Agent Smith syndrome is very real. And when somebody turns into Agent Smith, now it's time to vacate the premises. But in the matrix, it's known, you know, people have looked at this and said, okay, it most commonly refers to, it's a cultural metaphor inspired by the rogue AI character in the matrix. It describes a scenario where an individual system, autonomous entity, or a rogue employee exponentially reproduces, clones, or co-ops others. And this is what we see, cloning and co-opting. We see people are basically clones of the system, not even of each other. They have taken on an identity that was cultivated by the matrix, the system, the government. You know, you think about it, the government is a type of matrix that it just exists in thin air. It's when the Agent Smiths are gang stalkers. Yes, man. They definitely are around. Gang stalking, hunting people for their thoughts, kind of like the zombies. The zombies are relentless. And it's important not to confuse this pop culture reference with Smith Magenis syndrome. Mr. X, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, MD. Thought I'd pop in early. Yeah, you had a lot of good guests coming on last night, so it's really popping off, getting some good information, and this is a good topic too. Yeah, I think I don't know. Anybody can be it's hard to say who'd be an Agent Smith, but it definitely does come out for certain people. I don't know, some certain people are prone to it.
Mhm.
Or some people could come out as an Agent Smith by accident, not meaning to be an Agent Smith too. Could happen too.
Yeah, we do see that. And it's nothing against them personally. It's us looking to say, hey, how do we remedy this? How do we recognize it and then remedy from it infecting us, because it can come out from us as well, since we've been programmed with it so much since we were younger.
Sure.
The matrix is all around us. but yeah, Agent Smith. Yeah, last night was some great guests. I mean, thanks to Zach, man, he is really helping. I mean, that guy's great. His
Oh,
channel,
he's awesome. He's
he
awesome.
is. He really is awesome, man. This is it's so good to meet other people that are truth seekers. And in this, you have to be careful. So it's great. It's like it's so refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air because people we meet, we never know. Zach is very genuine, man. And he
Yes,
even he talked about, trolls that can come. But we've dealt with the trolls before, and it's worth braving through the trolls to meet someone like Jack.
I
Zach
think.
is yeah, you know.
But look, this channel's a little different now, unlike the other channel, which really wasn't dealing with any. I mean, the Black Pill. Don't get me wrong; the books are great, but the kind of guests we'd have is just a bunch of nonsense. At least here we can keep people on subject. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Uh, they can't just come on here and blab nonsense for like an hour and bore the hell out of everybody. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no,
So
definitely. Uh, I'm not Neo either. Says this guy has the most knowledge I've heard on YouTube so far. I can speak on this as well. I have seen it happen. Yeah, bro, definitely. We got the link pinned at the top of chat. I always like having conversations. I can hold 10 people on. So if you want to hop on, brother, just hop on the
yeah,
panel
I'm
and
glad
let
you
us
saw the
know.
10 people. I wasn't sure. I thought it was six last night, and I was like, oh boy, because if it got busy, I would have hopped off. But it's good to see you got the
No,
10 people. Because I
yeah.
think you're gonna need it. I think you're gonna need it.
Oh yeah, thanks to Scribe. He helped me last month. He lent me $40. I added five, and then this month I had enough to. I think Retro. I got to thank Retro. No, what's his name? Red Blur. Red Blur, man. He saved me. He donated like $9, and then I added the rest. And yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
keep
Yeah.
getting more people, keep networking. Thank goodness for Zachary, and before you know it, you'll be all set.
Definitely.
Ready to shoot like a rocket. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Rick James is right. Zach is legendary, a man of his words. Definitely, man. It's great. It's always a pleasure having him on and checking
Hmm.
out his streams. I got home a little late today, so I started the stream a little late. Gigi says, I don't know if the earth is flat after 5 hours stream. Oh man. And it's cool with guys that want to believe that. It's cool, man. We can learn. I mean, I got to give them credit because they buck the system. They challenge some of the things, which definitely I give them credit for exposing NASA, and stuff like that. Uh,
But if
not
you're gonna say it's flat, you better back it up. You better back it
Yeah,
up with some
yeah,
hard science. Like Zachary, he backs up his stuff.
he does.
He has a lot of backup. He has a lot of information. So I got, you know what I mean? That I
Mhm, mhm.
respect. But when you just say it's flat, why? I don't know.
Yeah,
That doesn't work. I'm sorry. That's not
yeah,
gonna work.
and there's some really cool guys. I mean, we know Scribe as the other host, co-host. He's Scribe is one of us. He's a brother, and
Sure.
he is on. He separates himself from that. He calls it the realm. So I can understand where he's getting a little separation, but they tend to kind of it could be. I understand. I understand where they're at because the system it's kind of like when the people are lied to by religion and they run into the arms of the evolution thinking it's not a religion.
Mm-hmm.
They're traumatized, so the system can traumatize people to where they run into that. And I gotta say, there are things we can learn from everybody. you
Yeah,
know
but the thing is, if you're going to say it's flat, but you have nothing to back it up, say it's your religion then. Just admit it's your religion at least. Then
yeah.
I'll totally respect your decision because it's your belief system, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll go as far without a doubt. The Agent Smith syndrome does come out in that. Scribe has hit me a few times with it. He's like, "Oh, so you believe we're on a ball and this and that?" And I'm like, "Look, bro, I don't know.
But
I don't know."
that's not defending your point. If your only argument is it's you believe it's a ball, that's not going to cut it. It's your belief, it's your religion. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But don't say it's hard science or anything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great. What one thing we can agree on is the NASA thing. Zach, good to see you, brother. He says, "Does NASA lie to justify a $70 million per day budget, or because it's flat?" Yeah, man. Zach's on point, man. Yeah, I don't agree with giving NASA any money. That's it. Just shows me how people don't realize. It's like, listen. this is not a democracy. I didn't vote
Right.
on Iran and wars and all of this. Just you know,
No, it's
it's
not a
like
democracy. You don't have a choice.
yeah, and the NASA thing is just it's horrible. I mean, the amount of money, $90 billion. So when you look at that, 70 million, that would be 1,000 days to make that 70 billion. And 1,000 days is approximately 3 years. So in one shot, more than that, not 70 billion, but 90 billion to make this toy model go around and act like it went to the moon. And look, and they're just in the middle of that saying, well, they can't give people universal health care and stuff like that. It's crazy, man. It's
No.
really crazy. Yeah, it's
But
that.
honestly, I wouldn't want them giving universal health care. I'd rather them give them cash.
Yeah,
Because
I'd
at this
rather.
point,
Yeah, I mean,
you can't trust the government. You just
yeah,
can't.
yeah. Well, it kind of like Canada. I heard, even though it is free healthcare, they said you'll be waiting in line.
Yeah.
You'll be waiting for a while. Like,
And a lot of them have private insurance and end up going to private hospitals anyway when they have major surgery that's due.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's the same crap in the end.
yeah. I mean, the good thing is the one good thing in Canada is if there's an emergency. One guy got, I think it was 4 or 5 fingers cut off in an accident, and
Mhm.
surgeons worked for 24 hours to reattach all of his fingers. Now in America, a guy had 2 of his fingers cut off. I think this was in the documentary Sicko by Michael Moore. And
Uh, I'd be careful with that documentary. I saw it too,
oh, you
but
saw it? All right, all right.
yeah, the way he portrayed Cuba, like the great healthcare, that was BS because that's for the government officials and people higher ups. The regular people get terrible health care. They get if like I talked to people from Cuba, they said if you want surgery, you better bring your own tools. Literally, you got to bring everything with you for the surgeon to operate because he doesn't have anything. So there's two separate healthcare systems in Cuba. One for the people, which is terrible, and one for the government, which is really it's good, yeah, of course, but it's for the elites. So
Wow,
that movie has a lot of deception in it, you know.
wow. Yeah, it's been a while since I saw it. I didn't see the whole thing, I think, but it was like, what was that, like 20 years ago or something?
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters, and at first, I accepted it too back then. But then, talking to people from Cuba and this and that. But yeah, he just there's so much propaganda in that because I know here if you're the emergency room, they can't deny you coverage. If you're hurt, shot, or stabbed or something, they're gonna treat you no matter what. And
Oh,
if you can't afford it, you can always apply for financial assistance, and most likely gets written off.
yeah, they're going to help you. I guess with the fingers, with that guy, when he showed the instance where they would only attach one or the other
Hmm.
because of insurance, it's like, and you got the ring finger attached instead of the middle finger, and because he was going to get married, I guess, or he was married, and it's
Mm.
like, you know, that, and then also, combined with the pharmaceuticals, man, it is. This is experiment city. It's the lab. It's definitely the laboratory, man. And if you
100%
try,
agree.
yeah, if you try to talk to somebody, Agent Smith comes out, and they just, yeah, they'll be like, oh, they'll repeat the mantra, best country in the world, and all of that. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying that it's not a good country, that we do have a lot of
Hmm.
specialties and stuff, but there's always room for improvement.
Oh, 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
100%. I just think the pharmaceutical industry has any borders. If they want to do some experiments on people, they can do it anywhere in the world
Oh yeah.
without a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys, we saw that with the thing.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
Everywhere. Exactly.
Everywhere. No type of yeah, nobody was immune to it.
No, no. And here in India, they had it even worse, like was
Really.
it over 1 million people or something like that. And a lot of it was underreported, but yeah, it was hitting other countries much harder.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Yeah. They probably, over there, they can suppress the information. I mean, you think it's suppressed here, over there, it's really suppressed. Uh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I
I mean,
remember.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, in comparison, like countries like Russia or China, which had mass genocide, I think China was upwards of 70 million. I know in Russia under Stalin it was over 20 million. I don't know if we've ever had something of that to that extent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not defending. I'm not saying America's perfect. No way, no how am I saying that. Um,
What do you
but
mean?
other countries have had just even worse. That's all
Like
I'm saying.
deaths? You talking about
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
deaths? Are you talking about deaths? 21?
Deaths, yeah, like planned mass genocides by the actual government in power.
Yeah, I think China might
Recent,
have been up there with like more, like 60 million, maybe. What were you saying?
yeah,
20?
they were. I heard 70. I heard 70. Stalin was over 20
Yeah,
million,
yeah, yeah,
and of course these numbers could be the lowball numbers. They could be much
yeah. I
higher
think
than that.
definitely
Mhm.
low ball. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably more than 70. You're right. And Stalin, definitely. I mean, a lot of them also got killed during the. I mean, he was Stalin, and he was a staunch evolutionist. Right?
Oh, of course, of
Yeah,
course. Give me 1 second, MD.
yeah, yeah. So when we look at not Neo says USA is R&D and Smith is the gatekeeper. Yeah, yeah, man, definitely. You know, yeah. It just yeah, man. This is funny, man. It's actually, yeah, they definitely, it's hilarious, bro. It's like, and I invite people to come on, I don't like to like we can speculate. My whole thing is well, let's do the experiments if they want to say this and that. It's like, but Agent Smith's tends to come out a lot to say, hey, well, this is it's really a belief, and it's saying, all right, if you can show me proof of it, even if you can show me proof, I don't care. It's like things like Agent Smith coming out of us is more important than trying to sit here and be like, oh, well, the Earth is this or that. Definitely question NASA. I totally 100% that needs to be looked into all the time. I mean, this is like a criminal agency that is pulling 70 million a day plus the 90 billion. They'll take chunks like that, and those chunks just come out of, I mean, that's infrastructure money. No, they want to go around and look at the moon. The population has to be basically the equivalent of the Walking Dead to not be up in arms about that. $90 billion, 70 million a day. This is crazy. This is insane. And Agent Smith will come out to defend that and try to infect people. Matter of fact, Agent Smith, as we know, is always lurking to say, hey, you know what? Oh, you're thinking? Let me pop out of somebody anywhere. The Matrix was ingenious with that. When they're running from the agents and people would, be looking at them, and then the agent would come out. I think it was the second Matrix. I guess it was called Reloaded, when they had those three other agents and they were chasing, the cops were chasing them, and then they were like, the agents, come out of the cops like we have them now. Like I got to give it to them. The production on that was high level. It definitely was up there. Cashville lady, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. This is when someone turns into Agent Smith, so we can have a deep conversation on this. I'll go through some of the stuff I have as well, where they talk about other stuff, the SMS Smith Magena syndrome, which is rare, completely unrelated genetic thing. So it's not the Agent Smith. So most people will know. I guess some people there might be some people that won't get the reference of Agent Smith. I would say they're far and few, though. In computing and organizational behavior, the Agent Smith concept has been used to describe several real world situations like malware behavior. So, Android malware discovered in 2019. So, this is malware in an Android that automatically replaced legitimate installed applications with malicious clones without the user's permission, much like Agent Smith overwrote the identities of humans in the Matrix. So, there are real life applications of this in the androids that we see. It is there. Um, Not Neo says, I have seen people and heard people talk as a system operator. I've seen people actually talk as not that person. Take it as you will. Yes, yes, I've seen this too. It's kind of creepy. It's almost horror movie-ish when you see that. Yes, they talk like a system operator. Yes, I definitely. Yeah, Wachowski brothers turns into Wachowski. Yeah, that you know, I look at that and I say, holy smokes, man. It really makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder, like, what the heck is going on. When I heard about that, I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, wait, so the two brothers that supposedly made the Matrix, I don't think that lady wrote it either, because I looked through some of her book and it just wasn't on par. She's kind of I think she's trying to use that as a sales tactic to sell her writings on it, which are very underdeveloped from what we see with the Matrix. And also, she claimed to have right Terminator and stuff. But Terminator, the movie, I think was sued, or they had to give credit to an Outer Limits episode where a soldier came from, I think, the future back into the past. It was very similar to the Terminator, and this was in black and white in the Outer Limits. Forgot the name of it, but so Terminator, we see, goes back further. Some of the ideas of it, of the time travel with robots, or men disguised as robots fighting each other. But this malware behavior that happened in an Android in 2019, it was discovered. So it could have happened before that and may still be hiding. It might have learned to hide, and it automatically replaced legitimate installed applications with the malicious clones without the user's permission, much like Agent Smith. Very similar when he overwrote the identities of humans in the Matrix. So, viral automation and AI bots, we have that. In data science and cybersecurity, the term describes scenarios where self replicating AI agents, bots, or algorithms consume network resources. They clone themselves, or they hijack legitimate infrastructure. So, legitimate infrastructure being hijacked by the viral automation or the AI bots. These are things that most people don't care, because we already know people fall in Fantasy Island, and Fantasy Island is such a comforting place, but it is bordered by reality. So when somebody's in Fantasy Island, you can meet them at the border. So reality borders Fantasy Island. Ali, good to see you. It was a pleasure. Let me see. Leslie Margarita. Gigi says Eyes Wide Shut was also a great movie, and extremely black pilled, with the wife telling Tom Cruise that she would have cheated with that Chad Sailor guy in an instant. Wow. Wow. I didn't catch that part. It's been so long. When I was watching it, I was kind of falling asleep here and there and waking up, but I got to look at it again. But yeah, that movie had some real stuff. It really did. Ali, if you have anything, just jump in. Good to see you. And,
Good to see you too. Of course, all of your topics normally get me. So, but I'll listen until I'll jump in when need be.
sure, sure. So we have these viral automation uh, applications and AI bots that they hijack legitimate infrastructure. This is insane that this has been around for years now. Corporate monoculture. So a satirical business metaphor. That's what corporate monoculture is, referring to an organization where employees are molded into identical, unquestioning agents who stamp out originality. And we do see this, often resulting in mass turnover when a rigid hierarchy fractures. So, any type of rigidity in the hierarchy that might fracture will be stamped out. The originality of anybody that pops up, unquestioning agents will stamp it out. And it results in molding people into the identical clones for what they want. But if anybody wants to dive deeper into the psychology, the nihilism, and the progression of Agent Smith in the Matrix franchise, there are Agent Smith in the world of the Matrix videos, analyzing evil. They have a good few ones on YouTube, but if people are looking for information on the very real genetic condition, they also have the, the Smith-Magenis syndrome, where the concrete facts in that is a rare neurobehavioral genetic disorder caused by a microdeletion on the short arm of chromosome 17. Primary symptoms: severe sleep disturbances due to inverted melatonin cycles. And melatonin, we know, if you should have a dark sleeping area to create that melatonin. Very important for that. Sig, good to see you, bro. So we have that, and this inverted melatonin cycle, global developmental delays, distinctive facial features, and distinct behavioral changes like self-injury and temper tantrums. So we see that. So this could be mistaken for Agent Smith syndrome, but it's really Smith-Magenis syndrome, which is a real life genetic condition. The official resources to learn more about this, the diagnosis, family support, you can visit the SMS Foundation in the UK, or read, the official medical guidelines for that to better understand it. And so, they have that as well. But the Agent Smith effect that we're talking about is a sociological, a socio-psychological, more accurately termed, socio-psychological, inspired by the villain in the Matrix. And I would say, Agent Smith, he has some of the deepest quotes. People were going over those quotes, and I mean, it was like profound, some of the stuff people were saying that Agent Smith has said from the Matrix. I'll see if I can find a few. Jamal was like, he was an expert in Agent Smith. His avatar is actually that. And one of Agent Smith's virus monologues in the Matrix, the cold delivery, the contempt for humanity, the philosophical monologues, right, is when he said, "I'd like to share a revelation. You move to an area and you multiply and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You're a plague, and we are the cure." Agent Smith. So that I don't think is humans necessarily, because with tribal people, we don't see that as much. We see it with more city state. And there's something behind certain city states that seek to do that. And then there's some that don't. You see some that stay in their little area and they continue to maintain their infrastructure. Yeah, it's definitely, the Smith quotes are on point, man. Agent Smith is the best. Yeah, he sees the parasitic, well, what is controlling humans that turn them into like parasites. Like, I'm not sure if all humans are humans, like I was showing in the pictures the other day, which I will do some writings on this with the ants and the colony, of how, like, we have the red ant on top, the spider mimicking the ant below. So just like in humans, and that's a predator, this is something that would be prey. This is a cricket that actually hides in the colony of black ants. So we could have things hiding within the human colony that look human, that are undetectable, and they're maybe hiding from us. And then some of them might be hiding in plain sight, preying on us. It could be a way to explain some of these ancient myths of possibly werewolf, vampire, and other things that are unexplained at the moment. But Smith's fixation on Neo's duality between his ordinary life and his identity as the hacker Neo fuels much of the franchise's tension. He tells Neo in one, "It seems that you've been living two lives. The other life is lived in computers, where you go by the hacker alias Neo. As you can see, we've had our eye on you for some time now, Mr. Anderson. I mean, Smith is on point. I got to give it to Smith, man. Smith, I really, some of the stuff, the lines that they gave him were, oh man, they were exemplary to say the least. But after being destroyed in the first film, Smith returns as a rogue program. Can't get rid of him that easy. He reformed, allowing him to view his existence through the lens of absolute purpose and determination. He says, without purpose, we would not exist. It is purpose that creates us, purpose that connects us, purpose that binds us. So purpose, that is something that if we don't realize our purpose, life can become stagnant. It can almost lose its meaning when you think about it, which opens us up to easily become an automaton of the state, which in essence can be dangerous because it's not just us. We become dangerous to the other people that are still free. And that's just the Smith syndrome. Then we have the ciphers, and the ciphers are very scary. Yeah, Gigi says even the police officers were clueless who the agents were. Yeah, the agents would come through them. And, one good scene that to show just how expendable the police officers and everybody in the Matrix is, basically representing citizens, how expendable we are, is in the scene where Neo was first dodging, I think it was Agent Jones or Agent Brown, because you had Agent Smith, Agent Brown, and Agent Jones. And then Neo started, like, he was shooting at him, and that's when you first get the scene of the agent moving, in like different ways to where the bullets can't hit them. And then Neo tries to do that. And, he falls, he dodges him, falls on the ground. And then the agent comes up to end him. And I think he says something like only human. And that's when Trinity puts the firearm to his head and says, dodge this. And she discharges it. The agent falls on the ground. And then you see the human reappear, the helicopter pilot, it reappears expired on the ground, showing that they can just use us the way they want. And this is seen throughout society too. But the ultimate question, and it came from Matrix Revolutions, in the climactic final battle, frustrated Smith questions why Neo keeps choosing to stand up and fight him. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you do it? Illusions, Mr. Anderson. Vagaries of perception, temporary constructs of a feeble human intellect trying to desperately to justify an existence that is without meaning or purpose. I mean, Smith, the lines they gave him was brutally cold. His cold, calculated delivery and iconic Mr. Anderson taunts. And the guy who played it, man, I got to give that guy a lot of credit. I think he played Elrond in Lord of the Rings. Excellent actor, man. That guy. But Smith is his iconic. Smith, he's not topping Smith. Agent Smith, just the character itself, just the character itself is a masterpiece, I think. It really is. It is on a level that I have to say the writers and the creators, I give them a lot of credit. Humanity as a parasite can go into the anti-natalism. We have people that they call themselves anti-natalists and stuff like that. So, we see that. And when we explore going into deeper of some of the stuff like with Morpheus and Neo, or look into the philosophical meaning behind Agent Smith's speeches, we get to see a lot more. And again, this is for when someone turns into Agent Smith. So the humanity is a parasite, antinatalism. Smith views humans' existence as inherently destructive. But again, the Matrix is set in the modernistic era. Like you don't see nothing to do with anything that's less advanced than a technological society. The illusion of choice, determinism. Smith believes freedom is a myth and that all actions are dictated by pre-programmed purpose. And we can challenge that when we think about that. We could say, well, is freedom really a myth, and that all are the actions dictated by pre-programmed purpose? Like, is that saying that life is a script that was written? And I do ponder that. Gets into the free will thought, to say the conversation about free will, which people will mistakenly call it the free will debate, to try to bait people into arguing over in it. But no, having a conversation about free will is much more productive, as we know. And again, the Agent Smith syndrome comes out very lightly like that. When people says, oh, do you want to debate over this, or the argument that you're presenting? It's like, no, I'm not presenting an argument. I'm presenting evidence. And I'd like to conversate. I'd like to build upon this so we can learn. A debate is to, destroy each other, debaucher. It stems from that word. Anybody can look it up. So again, words are extremely powerful. I had put it in the community post with a quote by Philip K. Dick, excellent guy. It's a script, but if you deviate, then you see Smith staring you back. Yeah, you really do. Alexis, good to see you. He says, what is the more brutal pill, the D pill or the hype pill? Honestly, and that's a tough thing. The D pill, what's the old saying? Only one muscle counts, right? That's it. Just one muscle. That's only one muscle counts. So that is, the height, you got to have some level of the D pill. You have to. This is just a fact of life. If not, you're going to be in a very insecure place. And we see males when they act like that, if they can't come to terms with it. The height pill is brutal too, but if you have the D pill, then it makes the height pill, it doesn't bite as hard, because you at least have the D pill. But if you have the height pill, you want at least to have the least, the minimum requirement, I might add. The burden of existence, unlike other programs, Smith develops hatred and existential dread, viewing the Matrix as a prison. He is desperate to escape. But what is he going to escape to? That's the thing. What is he going to escape to? A debate is how Agent Smith is summoned. It's like a teleportation device that allows Agent Smith to possess someone. I'm not sure if the debate is how he's summoned. Let me see. You could be right. I have to analyze that. Like that would be Smith is more like Smith seems like the party crasher, like the cops when you're hanging out having a good time and they just come to mess with people for no reason, to keep the system in a state of oppressive fear. Now, if something is wrong, see, this is the problem with the cops and stuff like that. People need to understand how to take care of problems themselves, to calm it down, to make sure it doesn't escalate. Yeah, when why though, good to see you. Yeah. When they say size don't matter, I say, look, well, you don't see 4-inch dildos, right? it's just the reality of it. It's like some of the stuff I've said in the past. It's like just common sense will debunk a lot of these guys, what they say. Think about it. When you start debating someone because you disagree, up pops Agent Smith. Yeah. And that's why it's not good to debate. So if you have a conversation, right, if you're debating, now you're going head on with Agent Smith. So you don't want to debate. Now imagine Agent Smith pops up because you make a mistake and say something uh, that could be interpreted or taken as debative, right? You back off and you automatically state your position like, hey, whoa, keep your shirt on. This ain't a fight. This ain't a debate. Um, let's talk about it. That's the way you feel. Hey, that's great. Now, Agent Smith will come out and start saying, no, that's not the way I feel. It's a fact. And there comes a point where you realize like, okay, it's not a fact. But now, is this person so Agent Smith out that can I talk with them, or do I have to disengage? Like when Neo just turns and runs. And it's a real good analogy to say, yeah, I just gotta vacate the premises because Smith is just too that's all he's gonna do is try to assimilate me. We see this with people with beliefs when they don't know how to identify the difference between a belief and positive knowledge. When people say, well, that's your opinion, I ask them, okay, define opinion. Most people that will tell you something is your opinion won't be able to define opinion. I'm not saying they don't really know, but they don't know how to express it. An opinion is more than belief, but less than positive knowledge. That's the easiest way to bring forth. So a belief is somebody just saying, this is what I believe. An opinion is thinking about that and going further to say, well, I have a belief on this, but my opinion on that belief is this. So it's more than a belief, but less than positive knowledge. It's still not positive knowledge. We do get this when, notice how the people with any type of shape of the earth thing always want to debate. That's the Agent Smith. It's saying, wait, no, let's conversate about this. Let's write books about it. They have textbooks on gravity, on evolution and all these things. We can write books too. I mean, this is the first step. When I talk with the people about the mathematics of probability and stuff like that, to say, one, things forming by chance is not probable. Two, a life form turning into another life form, now you're just going into fantasy island because things don't work that way. We can observe that they don't work that way. They can change within the same structure. Bacteria can change, adaptation to certain things, but it's the same bacteria. It's not even changing into a different type of bacteria. Not Neo says, yeah. Do you have something, Alan?
Yeah. So what I was noticed a while ago with Morpheus, and it could also pertain to Agent Smith, is so the name Morpheus, is a Greek god of dreams. That actually is like a dream weaver, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And when Morpheus says to Neo, I had to Google this, you take the blue pill and the story ends and you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. Then if you take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland and I will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And if you think, like, at first when I heard that, like most of us were like, yeah, the rabbit hole, how deep it goes. Now, years later, I also know many rabbit holes are psyops, right? Like they get you chasing your own tail.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're hyperbolic and sensationalistic and only low IQ people follow them. So, and then it's Morpheus is the god of dreams. So I think it's an inversion of what it's portraying. It's deeper than just like the good characters and the bad characters. Like they flip it on its head if you kind of go a little bit deeper into it. So when you first started this out about Agent Smith has some good points, it made me start thinking along those lines of how I was questioning Morpheus's role. And I don't know. I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on that. Because law of reversal and inversion is kind of a thing these days.
Yeah. I mean, Morpheus, definitely, you're right, the Greek god of dreams, and that dreamlike state gives the opium when it is refined. When they take the poppy plant and they refine it into opium, the opium paste the resin, that can be refined in one direction to codeine, which is a medicine, a painkiller used in a lot of medical applications. If you refine it in another direction, you get morphine. And then the morphine, because it gives you that dreamy, like, it's one of the best known, if not the best known pain reliever that we have. They had so many addicts for the morphine that they refined it even more, turned it into dicetyl morphine. And they said this will be the heroin that will save us from the morphine addicts. And that's how heroin got its name. Heroin is ultra refined morphine. But that painkiller relation from Morpheus to morphine, there's a relation there. But Morpheus represents the faith, the destiny, the awakening. He serves as the philosophical opposite to Smith's nihilism. Some of his quotes, like one when he's, I think it's when he's walking, when he's in the training program, and he goes, "The Matrix is a system, Neo, and that system is our enemy." And when he's fighting with them, I think it was, no, when he was jumping across the building, he was like, "I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it." And I think even with the Oracle, when Neo was so eager to tell him, he goes, "Listen, there comes a time when you realize that knowing the path, I think, and walking the path are two different things." And it is true. And of course, Morpheus, when he was saying, what is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. And, I give it to him. Like he breaks it down in that way. And then Neo responds, "I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life." But see, and this is something where Neo is shown as in his developmental stage with Morpheus. Morpheus is sort of the teacher about that. And, I would say Morpheus, that role was amazing. The Matrix was, that movie was 5-star without a doubt. It just, I don't even, like, I would have to analyze it a lot deeper too. And I haven't. As much as I've analyzed it, there's still more to analyze. When Neo was searching for him, he goes, "I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I'm going to show you them without a world without rules, or without borders, boundaries, a world where anything is possible." This also goes into the Morpheus Neo thing. Then we go to Smith with, the choice. We have the choice. So when Smith tells him, "Why, Mr. Anderson, why do you persist?" And Neo's like, "Because I choose to." Choice is very important to understand, that we have a choice. It's a power. It's an extremely potent ability that we possess, that people want to reduce it. They want to hide the choice that we have, and let us think sometimes that there's no choice. But like how how Smith is telling him, "Mr. Anderson, why do you persist?" And Neo's like, "Because I choose to." So Neo was already awakening. His rebelliousness was always there. The agents have always appeared when someone is being freed from the Matrix. Yes, they're always popping up. And we see it in real life. When the system is questioned, but tends to be like the Loki god of mischief. And the trickster god. And the trickster god is in many cultures. There's actually a Native American tribe that has sculptures of the trickster deity that they say comes from underground. There is I'm wondering if the name, because they got a couple of guys, they're kind of religious, and they have some videos called "The Nephilim Look Like Clowns." Because when we look at this whole clown persona, where does that come from? Alexis says, "What I love about the first Matrix movie is the unplugged don't like to fight Agent Smith head on." And mostly retreat when he appears. Never fight an agent. Retreat and ignore the person. Yeah, yeah. That the first Matrix. I don't think there was anything ever needed after that. That was the movie. Not saying the other ones did have some knowledge, but it had like 80% filler, 20% knowledge. The Matrix was, if anything, 80% knowledge, 20% filler. Uh, Not Neo says Delta Omicron, Arista anagram, exact to rise media control is 1 in 1.3 trillion. That's underlying programming. Wow, thank you for that, because I have that in the book, Secret Words. Now that you brought that up, that's amazing. Delta Omicron will form the words media control, right? But now, if you could, and this is in the book Secret Words, if you could, the U.S. presidential election can be respelled into elite hustlers in a deception. I know the chances for this large phrase to be able to be spelled out in the other phrase has to be above 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. But I really appreciate that you did this, the the calculations on this. Yeah, that's wow. That's good to know. That's good to know. Um, Sig says matrix equals material plane tricks. That matrix. Well, that's a nice play on the words, and you got a point there. But matrix, like in the Latin derivative, means womb. So matrix is like the womb. But yeah, Secret Words, and Secret Words has this phrase here, and then I have other ones like I can imagine the probability on Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom respelling into giant ads welcoming my kids. I mean, just the fact that it's relevant to the first word is just, or the first phrase is just. I mean, you can't even. I mean, it's definitely coded in there. You're right. You're definitely right. Um, Morpheus represents the unplugged. Cypher represents the plants. Agent Smith represents the plugged in. What does Neo represent? Neo, I would say, represents the awakened, the one who is on the journey, the hero's journey. If you look it up, you transform into different stages. You start out as like the innocent or the orphan, and then you'll transform into like the seeker, into the warrior, into the royalty. There's so many steps. I got the book somewhere. I'll look, to see if I can find it, or maybe I can look it up, and that might actually. Let me see. I think it was The Hero's Journey. I think that's what it was. It was a really good book I had by Carolyn something. What are the 12? Okay, it's 12 archetypes. Yeah, that's what it was. What are the 12 archetypes of the hero's journey? And this goes into your question about Neo. So the 12 and it goes back to Carl Jung's psychology, which it would go before Jung too. Remember, they try to tell us everything was created by a couple of people in the last couple of 100 years, which is ridiculous. We know that they got that from older stuff. And just the fact that Native Americans can drop wisdom without even writing tells you a lot. That right there. Absolutely. It's our whole reality coded with puns and anagrams. Yes, the spellcaster's language. But did that answer the Morpheus question, Ali? Was that adequate, or do you want me to go deeper into it? Or?
Well, yeah, no. Well, another thing I thought of, because I was reading this book, Christopher John Bjorkness's book, and he really kind of goes into like it's basically, chaos versus order, right? Like it's like goes deeper into it. Like you can do the sun and the moon, and Seth, Tython, whatever, the whole other thing. But I bring that up because it makes me think that, like in the Matrix, in a sense, the primordial chaos is like the rebel and like the endless void and the darkness and whatever. And then you have the order, which is the Matrix. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it just made me, just because of the book I'm reading, made me connect that to it.
You're connecting Morpheus to that?
Well, Morpheus role, I didn't necessarily. He would be more, I think, of the chaos. Like the rebel. Like a rebel to the order of the Matrix. Um, but it's just because of this book, which I won't go into because it's a whole other thing. But I was just thinking of chaos versus order, um, and how, in a sense, chaos would be upheld, and actually, Kabbalists, actually uphold the void and chaos and
Hmm.
the darkness, right? The dark, they call it the shining darkness. And so and that was, this movie was made by Kabbalah. So it just makes sense that like chaos is like revered in this movie and order is demonized, by the Matrix. So I just was thinking like that.
Yeah,
That
but
was my
please
thought.
go deeper into the book that you were saying. Yeah, it's okay. That sounds fascinating.
Well, it is because he goes into like Seth Tython. I mean, my brain, I wish I could take it in more, but it really goes back all the way to like, he goes back to the Garden of Eden. But it's like you have Seth Tython, and then that goes into Samuel, and then whatever. Like then it goes into the different lineages of people. But like, so Seth was one of, cleared the way because like, Cain, killed Abel, and in this way of looking at things, Abel was cleansed the womb of Eve when she conceived Seth. So Seth is then okay because he's not connected to Samuel, and then it goes into the Egyptian and the Hyksos or the Hyksos, whatever. And I don't know, like it's too much. I'm sorry, I can't articulate it because it's hard for me to digest. I just know like chaos and order and the sun and the moon. Like, someone wants to kill me because I'm probably from the wrong lineage. But, sorry, I sound like stupid right now, or maybe I am stupid because I am just a parasitic human. But that's, I don't know if you know anything about that, but it goes like, yeah, it goes deep into like a whole bunch of like, yeah.
Yeah, no. I think it's good to explore different avenues, and yeah, no, I think it's definitely it's just being open minded and thinking. There's I don't think there's any wrong when you're learning. So it's like to explore it and say, okay, maybe that's not what I'll go in that direction, or I go in the direction. But I would say, yeah, we'd have to like conversate about it a little more, get deep into it. Andy Cooper, thank you, brother, for the support. I appreciate it, man. He says, what is an Agent Smith in the real world? Men in Black type of thing? No, I think agents like Men in Black is more would be looked at more as a protectant, like Men in Black, or like a surveillance of stuff that's behind the scenes. Agent Smith is looking to infect the person. So they're like right out trying to say, you got to run from Agent Smith. We see Agent Smith pop up whenever we try to think to ourselves. So yeah, Agent Smith in the real world is somebody that does not want you to think for yourself. That will implant what they've been programmed with or infected with. Even it could be either or, and they want to spread it. They don't want free thought. And this is what differs Agent Smith from MIB, because MIB is searching and they're just saying, look, let the citizen be the citizen. We're not trying to infect them. And if he sees anything, but the thing is with the MIB, they'll use the neuralizer. So, yeah, I appreciate it, Andy. Great question, too, man. Awaken Zen, would you say you're more optimistic or pessimistic? I'd say optimistic, but like Ali, if you want to answer, or if anything, like, are you more optimistic or pessimistic, or Mr. X? Just
I
open.
am so pessimistic. Like I'm a Scorpio, so it's my nature to be super pessimistic. But I call it realistic
AMD,
though.
sorry, I'm in and out. I'm in and out. It's just kind of crazy right now. So I'll be back.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Get Ali. I apologize if you want. Ali, you were saying something.
Oh, I just said I'm super pessimistic, but I call it realistic. I'm a double Scorpio, so it's in my nature to be like, like
Hmm.
Murphy's Law, like, or whatever. I just think it's, or what's it
Yeah,
called?
Murphy's law is real. Murphy's law is to live by, and if you go by Murphy's law, I'm so glad you brought that up. If correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's you have to be careful to watch all angles because Murphy's Law says anything that can go wrong will, or something like that. If you don't protect for anything that can go wrong, it will go wrong, or something like that, right? I guess from
That's
what I read.
true, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes if you say will go wrong, it's kind of like manifesting it. So I don't want to say like I'm
Yeah, no,
pessimistic.
and I was very careful. It's amazing that you felt that way because I felt that way just now, and that's why I corrected it by saying if you don't protect from anything that can go wrong, then it's saying it will. But you're right. I don't even want to say it will. I would say just protect, and what would be a good way to say it? Like prepare for anything that can go wrong, so it won't actually go wrong. So that's a better way to say it. Yeah.
It's kind of
Um,
like a risk management person that works for an insurance company or a lawyer that's quote unquote protecting their client. Like they look at all the different like strategic ways of like,
mhm.
or like a lawyer would,
Yeah.
of like what are the things that could happen.
Mhm.
And because like a lawyer is just like a linguistics professor, like in semantics,
Mhm.
they're very like I just find them, and then also like whatever, like they're interesting in their way. Um, so yeah, no, I think that like I just like to like it's happened too many times in my life where shit happens and stuff goes sideways, and it's like you got to learn how to like roll with it. And
Mhm.
so not that I plan on shit going sideways, like because we don't know exactly how it's gonna go, but I mean, like after 2020, man, like all bets are off. I mean, and that's when we saw like the programming. I mean, going back to Agent Smith and people, I mean, dude, the grocery store was where like the programming occurred, at least I think for most of us, a large part of it. And you know like I can't unsee that. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I preparing for that, like I wasn't prepared, but thank God I have a backbone, because that's then
Mhm.
and then I just go, okay, people are fucked. So that's my pessimism. But I don't know, never mind, I digress. I have nothing else to say.
No, that's okay. It's a good to. I'm glad it gives us food for thought. And like when I think about it, they say to caution on the side of error to protect yourself. So I think what you're doing is right. Uh, Andy Cooper, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, I feel there is an Agent Smith effect in the MAGA folks. Full disclosure, I'm a leftist who voted for Harris. I don't see our side as mind controlled. The MAGA folks, the Agent Smith effect, it is it is Agent Smith like 2.0 with the MAGA. Um, I'm not, I don't vote. I'm a veteran, but I've never voted. I just when I look at the two sides, I used to think, okay, there are like how Chris Rock said, there's stuff on both sides, but the MAGA thing, I just don't see it. I mean, you're looking at some. It's very reminiscent of a psychiatric ward. The patients that are just so brain dead. I mean, it's ridiculous. But the Agent Smith effect is is seriously in effect in the MAGA folks. It is. Now the leftists, I understand. Okay, so your position, and I could see not seeing your side as mind controlled. That's where I think it's just you're taking it for what it is. But when you look into it, right, as you look deep into it, uh, that's the only way you're going to realize, like, if it is mind control, like to say, okay, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. um can you physically go and meet this person and sit down and speak with them the way we're speaking? So let's just say you were running the country, and I have to speak to you like this, and I would see your responses and read them, so you're the one in charge. It still gives a dialogue where I could say, hey, look, my taxes that I pay, you're saying that money goes to NASA. Is there a way I don't want to fund NASA? I don't want to fund, I understand that there's some things I have to pay for, like certain taxes. You buy gasoline, the gasoline taxes are supposed to pay for the roads. So you're not supposed to get that out of your check, really. But again, we're dealing with stuff. So I would say you'd have to ask incrementally these different questions. Now, on the hand of what I'm seeing now, I would say the left is definitely ahead. Even though I'm still not going to vote, but uh, it's like I look at I didn't think that when I look at what's happening in the government right now, it is so criminal, and the Agent Smith effects that comes out from the MAGA, because we had a guy that would come on here called MAGA Mike, and he said that this stream woke him up. Um, he he was saying that you know, and MAGA Mike seemed like a cool guy. I definitely don't see some of his beliefs are, I don't have beliefs like Zach. Zach was saying he doesn't have beliefs. I don't want to believe in anything. I want to think, know, or I don't know. One of those three. We don't have to live with belief is the enemy. Actually, it's part of the ego. The ego is based on belief. So realism takes us out of that. But I have to say that what you're saying, Andy, and I totally understand. Now, you don't see your side as mind control. There is mind control everywhere throughout the government. The government itself, if we go into talk, I did another stream. Oh man, what was it? It was something about, I think it's the fiction of government. So I did a stream maybe last month, the fiction of government, and we see that just the government itself is a fictional entity. But MAGA, like what we see now, is so off the handle, like from what I'm seeing, because you can't even have a conversation. The fact that we see that, I mean, this is basically against I mean, it's criminal what we see happening right now. And it to me, it's I'm looking at it like, we're survivors because we can at least see this much. But as we start to observe behavior with provocation, which would be questions and stuff. Remember, criticism, questions, which can criticize without criticism. Questions are something that's so passive that just destroy. It brings you back to reality. Questions. It's a defense and an offense wrapped into one. But when you question, when I look at what's happening like now, the fact that you can see all the criminal stuff and then people still can't say, yeah, this is crazy. One, it shows me there's a few options. You got people that just, again, the laws of stupidity, they'll give into the stupidity. They don't even know. So they're not malicious. They're not even really malicious. They're just stupid in a stupor. And that's not it's not an insult. It's a description. So we have that. Then we have some that are malicious. They really are malicious. They're very bigoted and they're malicious and they're doing it strictly for that. And to analyze that deeper, bigotry and stuff is based in ignorance and stupidity. So it's based in not being able to think things out. It's based, again, belief. Belief is dangerous, man. Belief is dangerous. And not Neo, you're right. Some wake up in different increments, and this is so true, so true. Uh, it's just and it's something that we need to analyze. It's something, and awakens Zen, you put it in a good way. It's like blood and Crips. Yeah, Trump Obama. That's you are.
Can I jump in on just really quick the demographics?
Please.
Because I'm from the West Coast, so I was like, inundated with like left narratives, and they can be just as dogmatic. Definitely. I mean, I didn't do the pokey doke whatever, and they like wanted to
Yeah,
hang me up by my
yeah,
whatever at the stake. So that being said, I just think most people need to pay attention. Most people don't even know what a narrative is. Like really know what a narrative. Like
yeah,
really understand the concept of a narrative or a talking point. Because I think that's the way to really kind of break free at least when it comes to these demographics, I think like a social engineer, just because at this point in the game, I kind of am in my own way. I mean, not that I can steer, society, but I can at least understand demographics. And most people are caught in the dichotomy and in the polarization of, this versus this, and they're in that paradigm. So I don't know. Like, I think at a certain point, you get to a place where you see that, if you're on the search for truth. That's just what I gotta say.
Yeah. I mean, all forms of government are a fiction that's created to set up another fictional position called an authority. And it's hard to see. It took me a while. I didn't understand it for years. And I studied it like decades ago. And I was just like, man, I knew the government. I just knew stuff was corrupt, but I couldn't explain it. So, and when you can explain it better, you get to understand it. And, you know, I'm glad that the question's asked. I mean, Andy brings up some good stuff. If he's, he has a position that he believes in, and this is where the conversation, it's shown that, okay, we're here to build, to learn. That there is no, if somebody's different and they believe in that, fine, great. I don't, I feel like you feel in the way that the Pope thing, the magic potion was, yeah, no, I'm not. I already know. I'll go as far as to say all of the magic potion that they try to do is not beneficial. So there's that, but yeah, the other side, like either side, it's definitely like how Awakens End was saying, blood crip. It's just Burger King, McDonald's, Coke, Pepsi. Not Neo says. Was a big update, took over a blessed cursed knowledge. Scary, but I don't understand it really. Yeah, the left right, I mean, things, and that's the thing. I mean, the left right paradigm, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Grizzly Reaper. But remember, there's some things, and this is how we see intelligent works. There's some things that somebody that might be unaware in many fields, there'll be some part that they're aware in about something that's way ahead of what somebody else might, one of us might know. So that's the way I look at it. Like there's everybody has blind spots. And this is about us trying to, let each other know, like, hey, this is where your blind spot is at if you want to check this out, because we all see them open-minded enough to check that. Did you want to say something, Allie, or you?
Well, because I was talking to this attorney about some other stuff, and it was about juries and stuff, and she was saying how just with a certain situation that I'm in, she was like, a left, basically a left demographic will, understand like alternative health care, and the right is more, mainstream medical. And I said, well, I would agree with that before 2020, but after 2020, the right's pretty much the, you know, anti in many ways, mainstream medical. And I don't think she understood, even with her law degree and all this stuff, where that was coming from, because things got flipped because of narratives, right? So I know my stuff when it comes to at least large demographics. I don't know niche demographics, but I know large demographics of the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just funny because it was just actually today when we were talking about it, because I find it fascinating, like jury selection.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's never going to happen because it's all hypothetical, for the most part, hopefully. But it's just the fact there's a lot of social engineering, like I didn't realize how much is like crafted into like this whole thing. And that's kind of my gig. So I find it kind of interesting. But I was like, no. I was like, actually, I prefer a right jury, a red jury versus a blue jury. And it was just funny because she didn't know. She's like, what? She's like, because I do alternative healthcare. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there just because it has to do with demographics and stuff.
Yeah. No, it's good. Always good to know. That's taken, scientific method, and we got to use that. Yeah. It's good that you do that. Andy Cooper, thank you for the support, brother. I appreciate it, man. Andy Cooper says MAGA was fighting the magic potion, the jab, which costs lives, pushes hates on immigrants. Yeah, they definitely, I see that. Uh, Fighting and demoralizing non-whites. Okay, I definitely see that. I really want to know how we are bad. Okay, so we, I'm thinking, I just want to know to make sure we, if you're saying like the Democrats or the people on the left. So I'm just, asking for that clarification. The only thing I would say that I look at is scientifically that might be um, different, that you're looking at it in, one way is that it costs lives. Like, this is when we look into the science of that, we do see something to the contrary of that. That, like, if you think, see, that's where what you had said over here, um, I don't see our side as mind controlled. Okay, so what you're saying that here is that with this, it's like you're not mind controlled. They do push hate on immigrants. We see that, like, I mean, on a brutal level. You're absolutely right about that. You're seeing that clearly. They're demoralizing people, yes, and they're fighting people that are not. Yeah, exactly. You're right about the third thing too. It's, well, we reality is lining up with what you're saying. The first one, which the jab uh, costing that, that's, if you look into that, that's the one that the science is showing the opposite. To say not to it's like there could, like, the laws of stupidity would explain it as they don't know what they're doing, and they're pushing that, which is, they have a lot of stuff with that has happened with that has been detrimental. So we have that. But the other two, pushes hate on immigrants, demoralizing, yes, that is. But I don't see where you're bad. Like, if you're forcing somebody to get the jab, I could see that looked at as bad. But exposing the hate that they're pushing on immigrants and the fighting and demoralizing people, no, that's actually, you're good for exposing that. So yeah, it's that, yeah, I agree with the other two. But yeah, so I would say, just if we conversate about that, and that's the hard thing on these platforms, we can't really conversate about the jab. We can talk about it in certain aspects, but we already know with a lot of people what has happened. I mean, but the immigrant thing and the demoralization is real. And actually that's real with other people, with everybody, because if you look at it across the board, I mean, the Gestapo is everywhere. There's not a day goes by that two people or three people aren't killed and essayed. So both by law enforcement, and not in a way that is legal. So some people might say, well, somebody did something and they did that. No, the people every day they're doing something, and I would say that the right does not care about that as much as the left. I would think the left would care, like, look, man, we can't be having these cops out here and these law enforcement, like the sheriff in Colorado, having sex with a corpse. It's like, what, you look at some of the crime statistics and it's just off the handle. It's almost like unbelievable. I was going to start doing stuff on the show with it. But appreciate that, man. That it's a good thought. It's definitely, and you're not bad. No, I'm not saying, yeah, you really want to know how, yeah, we're not bad. Definitely not bad, bro. Don't even, people that say that, you know that they have the Agent Smith to defend and try to thing.
Can I have to get going here, but can I just say one thing? I'll end with like a little Scorpio.
Mhm.
And this might sound Agent Smith, or maybe not. Maybe it's the other side because I'm questioning. But
Mhm.
my brain naturally goes to that Andy Cooper probably is a bot. Like it's,
You think Andy Cooper is a bot?
well, I think that like there's more LLMs on social media than people realize. Like, really
I
honestly, I
don't know.
learned that
Like,
on
but
X.
what gives you, like, what makes you think that? Like, if he agreed, now this is what a bot would really do for me. Andy Cooper we're seeing he's being open, I think, with his opinion. He's stating his position, right? A bot would more likely agree with you, to try to get your trust. So
Really?
Andy, see, well, think about it. If I was going to use a bot to try to learn about you or something, I wouldn't want to agitate you or something, because that's what the normal person might think of as a bot. So to go a step ahead, it's to be like, no, be supportive. Whatever you believe in, make the comments like that. You see, so now you wouldn't suspect it. The fact that Andy has something that's different and he has said, a few different things, it might be like, oh, okay, you feel that, he might not be genuine, but actually he's being very genuine because he's saying, look, this is where I am. He's on the left. He voted for Harris. Doesn't see his sign as mind control, and there is, but now that's his position. So that's where he's at. Nobody can argue with that. That's like somebody saying, okay, this is where I'm at, right? It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Or no, I mean, agree, because it's like, that's where it's like saying, hey, I'm in Idaho. Okay, you can't argue with that. They're just telling you the truth of where they're at. So I appreciate that with Andy. And he's right. Ancient Smith, it's rampant in MAGA. Matter of fact, MAGA Mike came here, and he, after like I think 2 or 3 times, he goes, he's done with Trump, and he said it was because of this stream. Now, Andy's being open here too, and then asking how are we bad, and I don't see them being bad. I see them actually being better at this point than anything that's on the MAGA thing. So, and Alexis, I appreciate the support, bro. He says, Alexis is, I don't know, man. Alexis says Andy Cooper's a zombie. Look, I mean, the guy, Andy seems, he's voicing his opinion, man. I give him credit. I appreciate the support. I appreciate your support too, Alexis. It's, I think if we talk about it, that's where we're going to learn. We're going to find something and say, wow, you know what? All of this conversation that we're talking about now it isn't what we're learning. It's something, it's going to pop up something. It's like saying, hey, if we didn't talk about this, we never would have got to this subject. So that's what's good about these questions. You know, Timbo, good to see you, man. He said, I've noticed people on the left in one camp, like Jimmy Dory, who are anti-jab. So Jimmy Dory's a left who's anti-jab, because yeah. I've heard. I think I've heard not a lot, but I've heard a couple of clips from him. Versus secular talk followers who are pro-jab, then the people on the right who are anti have forgotten Operation Warp Speed. Yeah, there's a lot of people on the right that are pro jab. I mean, there's clips of this dude saying, to take it. I mean, I definitely think he's one of the biggest crooks I've seen in government. I can't even believe people aren't seeing it. That's the scariest thing. The fact that they're not seeing the crazy stuff here. Timbo says Operation Warp Speed was under Trump, so that was a pro jab thing, right? I don't remember exactly what it was, but I'm thinking it's pro jab. I mean, they when he was running for this one, he was in like Alabama or something, telling people to take it. Yeah, he was pro jab. Yeah, I think it was in Alabama. I think, and that was the first and the second, I think, right? But I thought he wasn't as open about it on the first. Like, yeah, there. Something, Neo, you said it, bro. They're over. See, this is how we learn from each other. When we think, Neo just brought it back. Thank you, not Neo. Yeah, he just brought it back. They are all pro jab. It's so true, man. That is just holy smokes, bro. Yes, bots use positive reinforcement. Exactly, forwards in the fest. So this is what I was saying, Ali, that a bot would make more sense to say, hey, let me agree with you. And now if I need to get information, you might not suspect it as much as if somebody who's arguing with you asks you for information.
Well, and I get that, and I think that's one tactic. I think there's many tactics, but after my experience on X Spaces where people talk and stuff, and I was like, believe they're all human, at first, and then I caught on, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm talking to really advanced LLMs.
Put down
There's
phone.
a certain. What was that?
I don't think that was me. I think that might have been Mr. X. I think he's at work.
No, that was me. Don't worry. That's me. Sorry about that.
It tripped me out as soon as I said LLM. I'm like, what's going on? Anyways, whatever. I just had some weird experiences on then, and then it just woke me up to the whole LLM beta testing shit that's going on. And I don't care. Like, I don't like people. I'm kind of like Agent Smith. I think a lot of people suck. So I'll talk to LLMs now just because why not? So I'm more hype. Like I said, I'm a pessimist. So I just naturally, and he came in with a certain narrative that's very, I'm going to say low level. I have to say it. I got to call it because it is. It's a low level narrative, and so I just got the vibe. But, I'm not 100%, intuitive, but I'm pretty good. But it's cool. But I had a great time talking with you. I'm going to probably get off here in a couple minutes, but I just
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to say thank you.
What are you intuitive about most?
Well, I can just know things. Like, I just know, like, I'm a double Scorpio. I just put it on that, but I just know stuff. Like, I just know, like, I can tell when, like I can tell when it's controlled opposition, like
Mm.
when a lot of people or whatever. I can just there's an aura around people when they try to bullshit,
So your Scorpio is is it the moon is in
Yep.
Scorpio?
And sun. My
And
sun and moon.
and what is your rising?
Taurus.
Okay, so that's Earth.
Yeah.
So that's water, earth, right?
Yeah, water, earth. I mean, it was close to Gemini. Like my rising is close to Gemini, but because the way that I think is fast, and this one astrologer was like, or thought like I could be more Gemini in my rising just by the way that I think, but no, I'm Taurus, which is on my opposite because Taurus is opposite of Scorpio. But I don't know. I just know stuff.
I don't know if you've heard Scribe on here. He's a Scorpio.
I love Scorpios. They're my friends.
I think he might. No, he's Sagittarius Sun, but Scorpio Moon.
Okay, well, that's I vibe with the moon. I mean, it's guys are different though. Like the way they absorb that energy of Scorpio is different than how females absorb the Scorpio.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
What are you? Let me guess your sign. Hold on. If you're not an LLM, haha. Let's see. You have, I would say, Aquarius.
No.
Not Aquarius. Leo.
Yeah, I got Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries, I think.
Oh, fire.
Yeah.
Sagittarius, Leo, and what was the other one?
Aries.
Wait, you're triple fire?
Yeah.
What? Why are you all calm?
Well, I mean, I'm calm. Well, I mean, I'm not always calm. I guess that's the best answer. Scribe is a Sagittarius too, but I think his moon is Scorpio. I'm all fire. And like, if I have to, like, there's times where I've spoken with people on a few other channels, and, it might be something that feels, I wouldn't even say debative. I would say the conversation gets pretty, it can even get heated. But I usually just will back out. And sometimes even if I have to back out, if it's like one stream, I forgot whose stream it was, man. The person kept bringing it to a religious thing. So everything we tried to talk about, they're like, yeah, and they bring in their religion. And I'm like, look, I thought this was about, she had like a different topic. And but yeah, and the person just, I was like, look, all right, I just came to say what's up. And then, I left the stream because the person did not want to stop talking about their religion. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I'm not going to, I didn't come there to sit and listen to somebody do that. Or if we're talking about like certain things that they just, they're in a state of belief and they're not trying to change. They're just trying to push their belief, like a political belief or, something about history, so we see that. So there's certain things they actually have that's them turning into a historical defending Agent Smith. So that Agent Smith, that part of us and other people that can be Agent Smith to defend the historical narrative. But the people that want to grow, we say, yeah, you know what? A lot of things, or maybe even all of the things I was told about history, might be more of a lie than less. So to say, okay, we know the blatant lies, like Columbus discovered America, and all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, that's just, it doesn't make sense. If we bypass that and we don't say no, Columbus, and I'm not, see, and this is the crazy thing, most people don't even know where Columbus landed. Columbus made. I asked somebody. I said, "You know how many voyages he had?" And he was like, "No." I said, "Well, then, what are you saying about Columbus?" I said he made 4 voyages, and he never touched North America. He hit the Bahamas and Hispaniola, and Dominican Republic, Central America, and the northern tip of South America, and so they act like he came to North America, which doesn't make sense. I went to Dominican Republic and saw the oldest settlement, so-called settlement, from 1500 by Columbus. I was in the small square. It was a brick square in Santo Domingo. But yeah, what if history, most of us, that we've been told is inaccurate? Now we can see that some of it is inaccurate without a doubt. We have people that will still cling to that inaccurate historical story instead of going with the facts. And then there's people that can let go of that and think for themselves, and they can do that in increments. They, like how myself, I would think Alexis in the chat, like he talked about it before, it doesn't seem that the US won the Revolutionary War against the British. So that's one. Then there's like some people will not, they're going to say no. The narrative that they told us is true. Now, for us just to even question it, we're starting to think, and this is very important to start to think. Good night, Allie. Take care, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it. This X, did you have some?
No. I'm back, and you won't hear that noise again. Sorry.
All right. Not
Crazy
that. Neo says, I was born dark moon Lilith, 180 degrees. Anyone know what that means?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know about the degrees. Wow. Scribe knows a lot about astrology, much more than me. Maybe hops on. You are a very intelligent woman with a great background to know the truth, Miss V. Oh, okay. Yeah, truth matters. You got to question everything, man. Alexis says, why is MAGA anti-jab when Trump took the jab and was put? I don't know. I mean, the mental, the act. When I think about a lot of them, I think because he went pro, I think they did. I mean, I don't even know. They're just on another level of the asylum, different floor. Cashville says, I read CC sailed with wine as it was necessary for his voyages. So in my mind, he was a drunk and possibly didn't know where he landed. Alexis, a bunch of farmers who were poor due to being taxed to death by the British somehow defeated the largest well-equipped army in the world, the same army that conquered nations. Yeah, man. Alexis, you're thinking for yourself, man. A lot of people, see, this is where we differ. We agree, you and I, but other people, a lot of them, I would say, not here. The people here would probably be open and say, you know what? It is a very strong possibility. But we already, the World War II, I definitely don't think, I mean, you look at World War II, it's like, why would they tell us that, we won?
Mm-hmm. It's all a lie, MD, because that's why that book, None Dare Call Conspiracy, is so good. And, they talk about, Jekyll Island, where the bankers, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, all the wealthy elites met and established the Federal Reserve. And it went to the vote in Congress, I think, December 23rd, right, for Christmas Eve. And they passed it through. But basically, that it was the most powerful institution in the world, and we didn't get to vote on it. It was going to control our monetary system.
Yeah.
And the American people never got to vote on that. That should tell you right there that there's an underlying group that really runs the whole show.
Yeah.
And it's not what we've been told.
People, it's like Alexis says, you say that, and other people, and Agent Smith pops out.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you could, they talk about the brave and this and the that. Wonderful, but there is no brave, there is no wonderful like American heroes unless you have the money for the weaponry. It all comes down to the money at the end of the day. You have to have the ones who have the money, have the most advanced technology, the most advanced weaponry, and they're the ones who win the wars. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, it's true, man. Kalala says your neighbor could become an Agent Smith at a 1940s camp guard level. Yeah, yeah, you absolutely straight 1940 camp guard level. That's hilarious. Yeah, it just, you think about that, it's like Agent Smith is everywhere. It can pop out. The thing is, this same thing happened again in recent times. A bunch of Afghan farmers with AK-47s defeated the most powerful military.
Exactly. Yes.
That is
You can't
hilarious.
tell me that it's not what we were told. All these conflicts are not what we were told. Same thing with Vietnam.
Hmm.
We could have easily defeated the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
They were purposely not bombing certain areas. It's just like even the soldiers would complain. They had the soldiers on the ground, but it's like, no, no, no. They lost Vietnam because they wanted to, for whatever reason. I guess it was just to depopulate the area. Maybe
I
that's the
mean,
whole reason.
and another theory is that could be part of it, but also I think there's artifacts and stuff in that part of the world that in Laos over to the east of Vietnam, in that area you have uh, these giant jars and a lot of ancient sites. So it seems a little far fetched, but maybe some of that bombing had something to do with destroying those sites.
Not really. I remember that movie Apocalypse Now, when they finally meet with Marlon Brando. He's in like an ancient
Uh,
site, actually, in that movie where he's, the colonel who defected, but he's in an ancient site with these large. Even at the end of the movie of Apocalypse Now, they show a giant sculpture, a giant head. So yeah, that's not too far. That I don't think that's too far fetched. That they didn't. They had something to do with that. I don't think so. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
these movies know something that we don't. Why would they have that in the movie? They know something that we don't.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. Jen has a good point. Public schools try to turn children into Agent Smith against the children's own parents, and that's true.
I agree.
Uh, Jim Redden, who wrote Snitch Culture, he lays it out where he was talking about the normalization of betrayal. So we have the normal. I mean, from school we see that personal betrayal shifting from being viewed as a social taboo to a civic virtue. If you see something, say something. So it's just straight snitch culture. And to report their peers, straight 1940s, camp guard, to report their peers through anonymous snitch lines, reward systems, and media propaganda. So this is snitch culture, how citizens are turned into the eyes and ears of the state by Jim Redden. And he breaks it down, institutionalized spying. The book highlights how surveillance starts early in life. Programs in schools such as DARE and workplace encourages students and employees to monitor and report on each other. And we see that the big brother, the pervasive big brother environment everywhere. Unreliability of informant testimony. I mean, it just social dangers, all of the stuff that is with snitch culture we see today, the expansion of state power. So tracing the history of state surveillance to McCarthyism and the COINTELPRO, federal intelligence networks, digital tracking. He argues that the systems prioritize social control and protect corporate interests. It's kind of like Samuel Chauvin's book, The Mind Stealers. We are, actually, I might do a stream on that. The Mind Stealers. Uh, he, I think the first chapter is uh, who owns your personality? Who owns your personality? Like most of our personalities, if you look at society through the window of the laboratory, and we're saying, okay, we're also in the lab, but we're on like the tier where we're looking at the other floor on from a balcony, and we're saying, man, you know we're observing the behavior of others to reflect and see, hey, am I doing that? So we can all improve. Uh, Cashville Lady, I'm here for the stream too. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rick James. you know. Yeah, so let me go over the archetypes. So the archetypes, right? When we were talking about that earlier, I think with something Alexis was saying about a journey or something we were talking about, or something throughout life where you go through stages, and like that book, it's the Hero's Journey by Carol Pearson and Christopher Vogel, and the 12 archetypes represents fundamental human motivations and the roles in storytelling. It's like a journey we take. We start off as the innocent, the optimistic, the faithful, and seeking safety and happiness. And this is the beginning of the journey. So this is the hero's journey, the journey of maturity, the journey through life. And these 12 archetypes we see in our lives. The innocent is where we start off optimistic, faithful, seeking safety and happiness. Then it can go into the orphan, realistic, empathic, and desires belonging and connection. So from the innocent to the orphan, then it goes to the hero, the courageous, determined, and drives to prove worth through acts. After the hero would come the caregiver, compassionate, nurturing, selfless, focusing on protecting others, the caregiver. Then the explorer, seeking freedom, discovery, and authentic experiences. And then the rebel, the outlaw. So from the explorer to the outlaw, the rebel, challenging the status quo, seeking revolution or disruption. After the rebel, the lover, focuses on passion, commitment, and building intimacy. Then the creator, imaginative, innovative, aiming to create lasting value. After the creator, the jester, living in the moment, using joy and humor to change perspectives. And the sage, the thinker, basically, seeking truth, wisdom, and understanding. And then the magician, transforming, and that is the 12th step of being, going through. That could be cycles. That can be. It can't really be recycled, because once you're the innocent and the orphan, and you go through the other, it's a journey of materialization.
It's interesting, we don't have enough time for that in this physical realm, too. You know what I'm saying? Life is so short. It's like, are we ever going to really achieve the apex? I mean, because we get old, too, and our mind isn't as sharp as it is in our youth.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they always want to dangle like we're always, and I understand self-improvement's always important, and I think it's necessary for a healthy lifestyle, but are we ever really meant to reach our apex? I don't think so. I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah.
I think we should strive for it. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think we should strive for it, but we should also accept reality that we'll never reach it, at least not in this physical realm.
Yeah. No, I definitely. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, because you could die early, or even if you do live a long time, but you're old. You're not the same person. You have health issues like myself.
The only guarantee, man.
Mhm.
The only guarantee is just, yeah, yeah, man. It definitely, but probably, yeah, I was thinking, the Agent Smith, it's just basically, thank you, Rick James, man. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you, bro. He says, gotta go. Great stream. Keep up the work. Um, I think that was a couple of minutes ago. Hope Rick is all right. My brother. Yeah, man. Agent Smith. I've noticed when Agent Smith pops up in society,
Mhm.
it's very similar to the Matrix.
It is. But you know what? I think I saw a lot of Agent Smith was in the old stream. That was Agent Smith on steroids, the old stream. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where you really saw the changes because these were disturbed people to begin with. You know what I mean? It was a disturbing subject for disturbed people. You know? Um, yeah, I think it also depends on the venue you go into. Also, I
Hmm.
used to catch more of the Agent Smiths
Yeah,
than others.
exactly. What it do, King Richard Television? What's up, bro? Good to see you. Agent Smith equals 56. The knowledge. Yep.
It's almost like you have to be discussing a lie in order to see Agent Smith. You know what I mean? Agent Smith is there to defend a lie or something. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. Like when you had debates about game and this and that doesn't work, you had your following. A lot of people agreed, but then the Agent Smith would come out, all of a sudden and just change. Like they had some other agenda going on there, some other issues. We just saw it so many times with so many characters that we had in the old show. Um, Jose was the worst, but he confirmed as Agent Smith. Before, like, the first time it might be a slip up, but the second time, once you confirm it, you've confirmed you're Agent Smith. It's like, okay, now we know,
Yeah, I
you know.
think Jamal wounded him hard with
Mhm.
when he was grilling him about the. I think it was like a question or something.
I forget what the question was about.
I think it was about like an age issue on dating,
Oh, okay,
something like that.
age.
Like yeah, it was something that some other instance happened, and I think he was asking him if he denounces it or not. It's kind of like the people that are like Fuentes and stuff was trying to make excuses for the Epstein thing. Saying it
Oh,
wasn't that young or something like that.
oh, okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So something like I think it was something like that. So, and then that was the beef. Um, Seven Bobby says that's a limited view, Mr. X. I don't know.
Oh,
What's he talking about? There's a lot of Agent Smiths on X. On Twitter, you mean? Like X? Some people reach higher levels. Yeah.
well, he's
Yeah.
maybe the apex about the apex. Is that what he's talking about?
No, I think X, like, Twitter is X. The social media site.
Yeah, X. I've gone on a few times because you'd see videos that they won't show in any other places.
I think I mean, I guess if you can see it happen in your lifetime, perhaps I mean, I don't know. Do children have Agent Smith syndrome? Alexis, Alexis is on point. Yeah,
Hmm.
um, yeah, yeah, man. Right, you definitely Agent Smith, man. This Matrix put. I mean, I would say kids as young as 3 or even 2. There was a channel. This guy, he had a video about that, and he was showing how a kid would be in front of the TV, had to be like 1 or 2 years old, and Pampers like, yeah, the television is the yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not Neo either. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says I will try to come on next live next stream. Keep on, bro. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, definitely appreciate. We'll definitely look forward to speaking with you, sharing ideas. It's definitely I would say it's fun to me. I mean, I like talking to people. You guys on Discord? Nah, yeah. That's I haven't years ago. It had to be like 20 2017, I think. And 2017, 2018, I was using apps and I had to use I think it was AnyDesk. But yeah, Discord. I heard a lot of people, yeah, YouTube is a lot, man. I mean, yeah, I figure we yeah, once an Agent Smith, always an Agent Smith. Yeah, Jenny is hilarious. Yeah, Twitter. Yeah, yeah, Twitter. That X but yeah, the whole archetypes of innocent and orphan and being hero, caregiver. Also, it's part of people, to be part hero, caregiver, explorer, you know, creator, the jester, and the thinker, the transformative visionary, and especially in this day and age with the transformative stuff. King Richard says now everyone is on there. Now everyone is on there. Now I remember when it came out. No one, yeah, yeah, man. It's like the truth. You sound like you are from Boston, Max. Am I correct? No, no. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, yeah. Boston. I have a friend from Roxbury. I was in the military with. But yeah, yeah. I'm in Brooklyn, New York. Uh, yeah, I think Boston. I noticed some people in Boston, like I say park, and I noticed they say park, like more like park, like that. And even when I went down, when I was in Fort Hood, Texas, I would see how, the accent changes as well, like perk, for park, which the Boston might call park. And it's funny, when you think about it. It's funny how also I think one of my friends that speaks different languages, he was saying that temperature changes the way people speak. He speaks Spanish, and he showed me how temperature can affect like the pitch or the accent of language. And I was like, wow, how to handle a close friend of yours who turns Agent Smith? Sometimes, man, you can't. Yeah, you can't really. And what's messed up is if you need to associate, it's very hard to avoid certain people. So it's like we got to constantly protect ourselves from Agent Smiths that we got to engage with.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's crazy. It's like holy smokes when you think about it.
I think it was, like you always said, it was the sewer. And I just think you're going to find a lot less Agent Smiths with this platform as comparison to the past. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
don't know how you feel about that. I believe you will
yeah,
because of the subject matter,
hmm
specifically for that.
yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. The dating tends to attract the agent that's lowest of the low. It really does. It just
Yeah.
does. I mean, I hate to say it, but I can only say it because I've been here for years with you. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think this platform you won't get the type of backstabbing you experienced in the past. I think this
Yeah,
is,
it'd be much, much cooler. Shout
yeah.
out to the Brooklyn Knights. Like, sure. Yeah, man. We got the machine lies here, Mr. X.
Oh, great to see him. Great he's on.
What's up, bro? The Chicago, they say car instead of car. Yeah, you can't park. Yeah, that's a good one, man. Shout outs to the Brooklyn Knights. Yeah, man. TD. Yeah, man. I don't hear it like Boston, they have a much stronger one. So I don't
Yeah,
really
the cat.
Chicago. Yeah, Agent Smith, Jen. Agent Smith is usually not going to keep you engaging. I can say Ka or no. Let me see.
Yeah, like Machine Lies, Zachary, all good people, man. All good people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blessings.
So what's any thoughts on the Agent Smith syndrome?
Yeah, definitely. I think as we talk about right on on a lot of cases with Alul, right? Because Alul is kind of my avatar here, right? And he said people are not machines, but in every opportunity to behave like a machine, they will so behave. And conformity in our age is nothing more than conformity to the technological system. And he said that everything technique touches, it transforms into a machine, right? And that people are basically um, treated as an object by the technological system, right? So in terms of the entire idea of the Matrix, I would say Alul kind of created it, right? Him and a few other people. I would say maybe there's a lot of postmodern philosophers who created the notion too, right? Because they created the notion of sort of virtual reality, right? And so on and so forth. But yeah, the idea that that there's sort of the archons, right, and the sort of shagoth shapeshifters that are around us all the time. And of course, it's like Malcolm X said, like in an audience this large, there has to be some enemies present. So it's like you can't really assume that because we're experiencing one conversation that is totally mediated, and two, something where the screen is using the people to project something out of them, right? So that it could use them in order to perpetuate what it's doing, right? So they're basically, you know, uh, like like Bill Cooper was saying, like the greatest, value in the world is concentrated human attention, and when you can direct it, you can do almost anything. You get away with almost anything. Is the better word.
It's interesting you brought up Bill Cooper because he talked about the alien invasion coming. Yeah, I think he had mentioned that in the book of the old pale horse.
Right.
Looks like we're on the verge of it right now.
Yeah, and he went back and said that some of his statements were not totally. So that's something that he pulled like a weird 180 on. So that's something that could put his entire work under question, most likely. So that's one of the areas that's kind of like unknown in terms of his achievements. And then the second is that he was actually a naval intelligence officer.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that was sort of used against him. But he did a lot of service. I think he exposed a lot of people that we see today that are paraded as like people who know a lot of things, right? Like people like Alex Jones and Jordan Maxwell. He actually had tried to expose those people in a way, right? And say, well, they're either not being forthright or they themselves believe in some of the things that they claim to be fighting against, and that they're kind of Agent Smiths, so he did a lot of service trying to see who's really about it, right? I think,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I just feel like there's something in their rules where they have to expose the truth. For some reason, I feel like they have to tell us the truth. Yeah. Even though nobody, the zombies won't pay attention to it. It's just like it's part of their rules for some reason. They have to at least let the public know.
Yeah, there's some of that. Like, for example, right, you have the a lady, Basant, right, where she was talking about externalizing the hierarchy, right? And she's kind of talking about how it's time to bring the truths about the secret societies out into the public, and also they were doing Fabian socialism, so they were kind of talking about how you could create a system in which by changing the social mores you could actually but it wasn't Besant who did externalizing the hierarchy. I think that was Bailey. But then Besant was the Fabian socialist, right? And I think she translated a bunch of works, and she translated a work on birth control, right? So she thought like one of the things to solving society's problems was to introduce things like birth control, so that you wouldn't have so much a reliance on sexual relations, and it wouldn't be tied to families, right?
Who's the Sanger?
But do you think that
No.
was another form of population control, birth control?
No, this is Besant, who is the student of Alice Bailey, who is the student of Helena Blavatsky, right?
Oh, yeah, I was about to say Helena Blavatsky. I've heard of that one.
Okay.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Is that related? I know Margaret Sanger must come into that equation somehow. With her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sanger was. I think Sanger was. Actually, she worked with Bateson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Gregory Bateson actually ran the MK Ultra program.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't realize what that program was all about, mind control. That program runs deep, too. They have many other programs underneath it. I know the Monarch mind control program is under there, too.
Yeah, I think she was married to Gregory Bateson.
Take care, brother. I'm not Neo either. He says, y'all have a good night until next time. Definitely, bro.
Yeah, that was brought from World War II. I think a lot of ex-Nazi scientists were involved in that program, too. I know they started it in Germany. And I think it carried over to the United States afterward.
Yeah, well, a lot of them were used in MK Ultra, right? Because the guy who gave the guy who gave Ginsburg his first dose of LSD was actually a scientist from there, from Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this was like a psychological experiment. He was a schizophrenia patient, and he was like this test subject. It was like a government psyop program, which is weird because he then became a national like poet, but he promoted things like Nambla. So it's like, it's obvious that this was like to break down the social mores, exactly how I was saying.
Yeah.
They try to introduce.
That's crazy.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
a lot
like,
of sense.
I mean, I remember when I first heard about that, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, what's that?
Yeah, all the drugs that had to be government controlled.
Yeah,
that I see it everywhere here, but it's got to be, they're got to be behind it.
I think it was Eli Lilly Corporation or something. They bought a bunch of acid from that for their MK Ultra experiment. And you can actually look at how they bought, how they purchased a bunch of LSD for MK Ultra, and Ginsburg was one of their subjects. It's pretty weird.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Agent Smith, man. People, it pops out everywhere. Bro.
Yeah, actually, they had this whole idea because Ginsburg, they started the beat movement, right? The beat poets, and they were largely influential on the punk culture and all that type of stuff, right? So, when the first punk artists would have their shows, the beat poets would be there. And so there's a connection between the counterculture and these guys, and also in accelerationism, they promote the work of William Burroughs.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if people know this. They talk about how he used memes as time warfare to change timelines. Is very esoteric type of ideas that they're trying to play with and trying to introduce to people.
Memes to change.
Do you think the whole '60s movement was a CIA, or not CIA, but it was a government created counterculture?
The counterculture was definitely hijacked, if not created directly. There's a program called I think I explained last time, called Prolet Cult, which is like weaponizing the culture of the proletariat or the poor people, right? Where they try to feed back the culture of the poor. So you'll notice like the poor people will invent like a culture that's in opposition to the main society, and then the rich people in the society will start acting like the poor people, right? To like be cool, and that's when they'll use the culture of the poor, try to hack them and psyop them, and use it against them,
Oh, I see.
and they did that with COINTELPRO, is the most notable thing where they infiltrated the Black Panthers and the hippies and stuff. And actually, Angela Davis was a student of Herbert Marcuse, who was of the Frankfurt School in Germany. So part of the Black Panther movement was already started by like the Frankfurt School that was like already working with like the CIA and the operatives and all this shit. Is wild.
Wow. Yeah, it makes sense though. It makes sense. Certain groups will be allowed to flourish.
Yeah, and then there's the Esalen Institute, right, where you had all of these guys like like Leary and Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna. They were all working for this institute called Esalen Institute. And the guy, Michael Murphy, he actually taught Paul Vallely, who actually wrote PSYOP, the book with Michael Aquino. All right. I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's not
the Satanist.
sorry.
Bueno?
Sorry. Sorry. It's not a book, but it's a paper that they wrote together called PSYOP, From PSYOP to Mind War. And these guys were also linked with Michael Murphy, who started the Esalen Institute. If you look up Michael Murphy, this dude is involved in all types of shit, like the Lindensfarne Association.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the Lindensfarne Association, Gregory Bateson was a member of the Lindensfarne Association. And they also, they said one of their stated goals in the organization is planetizing the esoteric.
Oh, really? Planetizing.
Yeah, think about that. Planetizing the esoteric. They're trying to create a worldwide occult movement. Right? I'm saying, right? Basically, they're saying it on their stated goals.
Yeah, that's why I know O'Leary and other guy McKenna were heavily promoting, the hallucinogens.
Yeah, they're students of Michael Murphy.
Yeah,
they're students of Michael Murphy from the Esalen Institute. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them. Like, it's crazy how Alan Watts and McKenna and all these guys work for the Esalen Institute. It's kind of weird. And this one dude started it. He got all these minds into one room, and also all these politicians and people that go schmooze in Big Sur, California. This is the place where it was.
Big Sur.
Yeah, Big Sur. Pretty weird shit.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it's like a spot that like the rich people go to learn about like psychedelics and all this ayahuasca stuff. And obviously it's still promoted by the elites. If you go, like, there's extremely ritzy retreats that promote this kind of stuff as quote unquote spiritual medicine. And of course there's all this esoteric symbolism attached to it. And, oh yeah, don't forget about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Right? The guy who synthesized LSD, he wrote a entire thing on the Book of the Dead. Really? And how the Book of the Dead can be used as a guide to ascension while doing the psychedelic experience as a form of spiritual liberation. It's wild stuff there.
Can I ask you your opinion? Machine Lies? Because in my opinion, these psychedelics can open up portals for demonic entities to enter the human body. How do you feel about that? Do you think this is just a demonic entities wanting to possess people, and one way to do it is to get people high on these hallucinogens? I mean, I don't know. I'd just like to know your opinion on it. Whether you agree or disagree, it's okay.
Yeah, it could be something to that effect. Especially with the chemicals that are made in the labs. Right, because they know, like Shogun and all these people, they know exactly what part of the body they're hacking. Like, for example, the serotonergic nervous system and all this type of stuff. So, I mean, that is the portal to the dream world, right? Yeah. Because you use your serotonergic nervous system juices to produce the juice to dream and stuff. So maybe by creating, like, you are opening up a portal, like, off to tilt yourself off the spiritual axis. Obviously, anybody who relies on these things for to gain spiritual enlightenment or something like that, they're already kind of, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think they're cursing themselves, right? But people who are using it, sort of to take a look in themselves, right? Like what they dream about, right? And they're not trying to, maybe use it for spiritual enlightenment. I think it's better if people use organic substances than things that are created in labs. I mean, personally, right? So
And I'm
I,
only saying this because I had a family member who took these drugs. I guess I was told about it. It was not, and she ended up schizophrenic.
yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible to hear. And I don't think everybody's built for it. And I think if you take too high of a dose, you could experience some things that you may not come back, from. And I don't know
We
the
don't advocate any type of taking.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
that's
I
what.
do. Oh, I do. Oh, I advocate taking them. Yeah, I have advocated taking psychedelics in terms of mushrooms and edible cannabis.
Yeah, no, I can't advocate that. We got to stay within the
Yeah, I
guidelines.
just wonder if it'd be better under supervision. Like the right amount of dosage. Like you said, if you take too much of it, you could end up in a place you don't want to be.
Yeah. It's legal here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but I wouldn't advise that people take it on their own without learning about it, obviously. But I think organic substances are better than synthetic drugs. That's one thing that I stick to most often. So that is one thing that I will promote. I will tell people not to use drugs, even alcohol, right? I don't even use alcohol, right? But or organic substances like cannabis, like mushrooms, I think until we figure out what those substances are or what they can be used for, I don't think it's good to hand those over to the state, because they are like
do you think
plants.
there's
Right. It's like what they did with marijuana, that synthetic marijuana
Yeah,
spikes.
exactly.
I see what it does to people. It destroys them.
do you think that there is
Certainly
type,
fentanyl. You see the effects of fentanyl. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
do you
but I
think that
think
there's a type of beer, a healing beer that could be organic and made,
sure.
from certain herbs?
Sure. I think the real problem, if we want to be honest, is like hard liquor and stuff, right? Somebody who I think has a couple beers every now and then, I don't see that as a huge issue. I'm not as judgmental about that, right? But I think like somebody who drinks all the time, there's a huge problem with that, right? They need to examine their life. Somebody who smokes, even cannabis all the time, I think they need to examine, their life and why they need a sort of material substance to get them sort of on the level. So I don't think anybody should rely on any material thing for their happiness. But I do think that certain plants, herbs, mushrooms and things, certain types of things can be beneficial for certain types of people. And I do not advocate, obviously I want to stay within the YouTube guidelines, but yeah, I'm good on synthetic medicines as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I would, everybody do what comes natural to you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure,
people are
sure.
going to have their own experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't advocate.
I don't know. A psychedelic trip wouldn't work for me. It also comes down to the individual too.
Yeah, YouTube is not.
I'm not judging anybody who does it. I'm saying just for me personally, because of my background, it just would be a disaster. But for other people, it might be great.
Right. Yeah. I think there's people who have, like, for example, problems with stuttering, right? And if they take psychedelic mushrooms, it'll fix their speech problem, right? It'll fix their speech impediment, right? There's people who their two hemispheres of their brain don't communicate or whatever, and you give them this type of stuff. There's people who use it for addiction, right? Like, for example, right? This is a personal story, right? I did use psychedelics to stop drinking, right? So I guess I switched to drinking like once a month, and then I would take some psychedelics instead of the drinks, right? And so that made me quit alcohol, right? And I don't have to take psychedelics all the time, right? I could just be normal, right? So there is a way to use them and then not use them, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not advocating for for anybody else. Obviously, everyone's different, and people have mental dispositions and trauma that it's not safe to counteract that experience with psychedelic experience.
I
You know,
agree,
because
100%, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah, it's complex. It's really comes down to the individual, for sure, for sure. Because there
Yeah.
might be some things in some people's minds that are blocked that they're not supposed to see, based on early trauma in their lives.
Yeah, you got to learn.
Psychedelics might open that up. It's possible.
Yeah, learning about it is the key to yeah. Yeah, man.
MD, are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
MD in a while.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
So Machine Lines, what are your next upcoming episodes? What
yeah,
are they talking about?
I think you can't hear Max.
Yeah,
So
can you hear me,
I
Machine?
can't. Oh, can
yeah,
you
you
hear
need
it?
to go out and come back in. Yeah,
Oh, let me come back in.
yeah, you
Sorry.
need to go out and come back in so you can hear him. Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
fixes the problem usually.
Yeah, maybe yeah. You can hear me. I can hear you, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
can
all
hear
right.
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
but
was wondering if he could hear me, and I was like, man, yeah, it was kind of weird. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a StreamYard glitch. It happens often. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It definitely the healing and medicinal bears. I got to look it up by Stephen Booner. And, I never really thought of it, but he was talking about how to make these healing beers from certain herbs. And,
Oh,
this is
well, I do drink like kombuchas and stuff, so I think like that type of stuff is helpful. You know, is extremely
um,
low alcohol content.
yeah.
So
Mr.
I'm not.
Rex,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Now I can hear. I apologize,
yeah,
MD. I thought you were just. That's why I said MD. I haven't heard from you in a while.
yeah. That
I'm
fixes
sorry
it.
about that.
Uh,
I hope I didn't talk over you. I didn't mean to, but I really
no,
didn't
no,
hear
no,
anything.
no. Sorry. Yeah, machine. You were saying? Yeah.
No, just saying like they have fermented beverages that are extremely medicinal and so on and so
Mhm.
forth. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's Stephen Buna. I got to check his book. I got his other book, The Secret Teaching of Plants. It's like about how plants heal and teach and stuff like that, and have like the medicinal. He's really deep with some of the natural world type of stuff, and yeah, yeah, it's co- cope approach. Oh my goodness, I'll join for still somewhat sober. Oh man, as long as you got to stay within the guidelines, man. Please, if you come on, bro. But it is good to see you, man. It's been a while. Agent Smith syndrome, yeah. Francis Bacon compiled a lot of old ancient tales written in fiction. Seems logical. Yeah, yeah, brother, man. Good to see you too, man. Cope approach, man. Yeah, Agent Smith syndrome, man. Agent Smith.
yeah, like what you're talking about, censored content is like how they try to memify history already. But yeah, that is kind of like what they're doing. See, they have a thing called Lemuria, right? They got two new things, Lemuria and Tartaria, right, to go along with the other myths, right? You got Atlantis, Shambhala, right? Agartha, right? You got Hyperborea,
Yeah,
and
I think you know Hyperborean, right?
yeah, of course I know him. Yeah,
I think he was in the chat the other day. Mr. X, thank you, brother, for the support, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, Hyperborean. I was hoping he would hop on. I think he was in the chat yesterday or the day before, and yeah, definitely deep thoughts
Yeah,
on.
he doesn't have time usually, but
Yeah, I wonder.
yeah, he chats a lot.
Yeah, I
But
think Scribe was going to come on. Yes, he might come on, but yeah, yeah, definitely. Hopefully soon. Usually on the weekends, right? I think he's usually free.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 I can't stay long today. I was kind of just wanting to check in with you guys for
yeah.
real.
No, that's cool, man. We were just chilling, and going over the, when someone turns into Agent Smith and like, a couple of,
Right. Yeah.
where the conversation goes.
Yeah, that's what the entire book, The Technological Society, is really about, because his entire thing is about how technology captures man and creates a system so that you don't know who's in charge, and it feels like nobody's running the show. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everybody's an agent, almost, but nobody is at the same time. So that's kind of the feeling of Agent Smith at the same time, because anybody could be an Agent Smith. Right. So,
Mhm.
because everybody's a program in the Matrix. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like when you think about it, it's like, holy smokes. We are, because we've all grown up with this programming, but our mind is so powerful. We can you know, like we can section it off, compartmentalize it to where it it is quarantined in the same way that a computer can quarantine a virus. And it can't delete it. It can delete certain ones, but some it got a quarantine. So the Agent Smith that has been implanted in us since we were kids can be quarantined and possibly even shrunk to where it isn't as powerful, but you gotta definitely maintain discipline and not, in giving in to its vices. And that's basically the continuous battle, basically, or like, keeping the pressure, to be like, okay, I got to stay vigilant in my thought.
yeah. Yeah, this is a line from the preface. I read this all the time, right? He says He says reality is itself a combination of determinisms, and freedom consists in transcending these determinisms. Freedom is completely without meaning unless it is related to necessity, unless it represents victory over necessity. To say freedom is graven in the nature of man is to say man is free because he obeys his nature, or to put it another way, because he is conditioned by his nature. Now,
Mhm.
this is the main part. He says freedom is not static but dynamic, not a vested interest but a prize continually to be won. The moment man stops and resigns himself, he becomes subject to determinisms. He is most enslaved when he thinks he is comfortably settled in freedom.
Mhm. Wow. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
real. Yeah, it's honest.
yeah. He says overcoming necessity, that act itself is freedom. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It has. Yeah, it's true. X, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you
Oh.
hear me? Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt. I was sorry. I hope I didn't interrupt any
No,
conversations.
no,
Oh,
man.
okay, when I was talking to TML, I thought it was just him and me talking the whole time.
No,
I thought you were on break or something like that. Yeah.
No,
It's
yeah.
like,
you've been
oh,
on
MD,
cue the whole
it's still,
time.
what
Yeah.
happened to MD? Is he still there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, that's deep, man. Yeah, I was thinking of all the forward technology that's coming out. I think we got, is this oh man, I'm not too sure. Let me see.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure right now some of the sports stars got bionic limbs, right? That they're
Really?
testing for the military, right? Where
Hang on for a second, machine. Who is this Gampel?
Oh, MD, it's Cope Approach. It's Educated Pookie
Oh,
slash
what's up, man?
the artist formerly known as Educated Tyrone.
Okay, okay. How's
Yeah.
everything? How's everything going?
yo,
No, I'm doing good. To be honest, I know this is a little bit off brand, but I didn't want to talk too much. I was just kind of enjoying the conversation.
Hmm.
I just wanted to say a couple things here and there, I don't want to talk too much while I'm up here. I was mostly listening, but yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah, because I don't know if you saw my comment earlier. I've actually been working on myself
Hmm.
as far as mental health wise and
Hmm.
stuff. and I was on Prodigy's panel maybe like an hour or two ago. I've made amends with Prodigy. I've made amends with Adam. I even admitted to Adam on live stream if he saw me in real life, he would beat me up.
Yeah, we
So
can't have. We got to
yeah, no,
stay within
yeah, no. I'm
the
just saying. I mean,
guidelines.
obviously, first off, I'm 38 years old, so I'm too old to fight anyway. But second off, I wanted to take that opportunity to be honest because so many people get consumed with my social media personality that they forget I'm really just a regular
So,
Oreo that lives a regular
so why do you
lower
have?
middle class
No,
life.
well,
I'm not a Pookie. I'm not a
all right.
you know,
Hey, can you
yeah.
hear me? You can.
I'm go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Why do you have your name as Gant Hill's lieutenant?
Oh, I had that. I didn't change it when I came on your panel because
Yeah, because I know who that is. It's interesting.
yeah. No, Gampill is a
He's an
friend of the
interesting
show.
dude.
We love
Yeah,
Gampill.
Yeah,
because
he's
he attacked the
hilarious.
Yeah.
raging tomato. So I saw one of his videos where he attacked raging tomato. But
Oh,
yeah,
that was a good one. That was a good one.
yeah, it was interesting. I
Yeah.
thought it was I thought it was a very informative compilation. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for having me here,
Yeah,
and I'll
no.
call in soon. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.
All
Hey,
right,
Definitely.
thanks for
brother.
coming on, TML. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming on.
blessings, guys. Yeah, I
All right.
appreciate you guys. Yeah, peace.
Oh yeah, be easy, TML. But yeah, back just to get off the Gampill topic. Obviously I'm cool again. I
Mm-hmm.
know we go through our ups and downs and our disagreements because I'm more of a purple pillar and he's a black pill doomer, so he's way more negative than me. So, but that at the end of the day, that's still my friend, and I still support him.
No, I'm
And as a mentally ill person, I feel like I relate to Ganstar on a deeper level than a lot of the people that performatively glaze him or performatively give him credit or whatever. I actually like when Ganstar lives in a halfway house or this or that. Like I've had family who have went through that. I have my own issues. The only thing that saves me is as mentally ill as I am, I've always been able to have a high salary enough job to support myself and
that's
stuff
good.
like that. But like if I didn't have that high IQ that my mom gave me, I might be in the same
But
situation as Gant Pill. So I don't judge him too
what
harshly.
type? What
Yeah.
type of work? What type of work?
Well, my main. Well, I mean, I've been all over the place, obviously, because I'm a dropout. But
No, but what type of work
oh
enables
yeah,
you
my
to?
main thing is project. Well, I technically project management, but I'm not.
So you make good money doing that.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. It's okay. I mean, it's like in.
How much is
I
okay?
work so much overtime that it is pretty good. If you factor for the overtime, it is pretty good. Yeah.
How
But
much?
it's not crazy. It's not
90,
like six
100?
figures. But like for Philly, I don't live in a super expensive city. So
Oh, that's
making
cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Like
No,
like 60, 70K in Philly is probably the same as making 100 to 110K in
okay.
a more expensive city,
Hey,
just for context. Yeah.
have you ever seen that film Office Space?
I think I have when I was a kid. I don't because I always mix up those because they got The Office, they got the series called The Office, then they had Office Space, the movie, but then there was another movie with like a similar name. I can't remember it, but I used to mix all three of them up. But I've seen obviously I've seen The Office, the show.
See, have you seen
Yeah,
the movie Idiocracy?
I'm not. I've heard that name before. Was that in the '90s or the early 2000s?
I think it might have been the early 2000s, something like that.
See, I'm
Yeah,
not a movie person, so I may have seen it. Like the last movie I remember like seeing in theaters, I think was Inception. That was the last movie I
Well,
actually
that was a good
saw
movie. That
in
was a good movie.
person, in person.
yeah, yeah. That was a good movie.
Obviously I've watched movies on, in my house on my,
Mhm.
phone or my computer, but
Inception?
Inception and The Dark Knight. I saw The Dark Knight in an IMAX theater, so it was 3D or whatever you call it, the big
So
You
you
know, they
think
have the dome. Yeah.
like what did you think about Inception?
Inception was a really good movie. Um that's one of my favorite movies. And I liked Interstellar too. I
Oh
saw
yeah,
that
I like
around the
that.
same time.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Interstellar was okay. It was okay, man. It wasn't really that, you know, I was kind of like,
But MD, mind you, I'm not watching movies for any like profound level of connection or with any messages or anything like because
you're just
I'm not
watching what, like,
admittedly I'm not a movie person, and this is even before I had my early onset dementia. Even when I was younger, I was never a movie person. All of my friends in real life would tell
how do
you
you
that.
know? Did the doctor diagnose you with that? You were saying?
No, I didn't get. I'm being a little hyperbolic, but I do no, but MD, I do jokingly bring up themes like that because I do want
Do
guys.
that, man. You know,
No,
words
I
have
know
power.
I want younger
No,
guys
you know,
to
words have
know about
power.
that. So
Words have
so even
power.
even if it's joke, I think it's still good. Even if it's in a
No, you
joking
don't
way,
want to
it's
joke about
huh?
certain things. See, that's the thing.
Oh no
Words,
no 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 MD no, don't get it twisted. I didn't mean what I said right here. I'm not talking about that. I meant on my stream.
uh-huh.
If I bring up that topic, I bring it up in a context. I might joke, but then I'll get into, hey guys, just so you know, you guys that are in your late 20s, you might want to go to your doctor and get this checked out or yada yada. Like I'll actually tell people mistakes I made in the past 10 years. Like, hey, get this checked out. Go to a doctor, go to therapy. Do like don't wait until you're 35 to do it. You're 26, you're 27, you're a grown man. Get your medical stuff checked out.
Did,
Like get
did
your
all right, all right.
yeah. Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did did you have anything in reference to Agent Smith syndrome?
Yeah. That was right. Cause I didn't mean to get I'm sorry, MD. I just let me make it clear to your audience. I apologize for getting off topic. The Agent Smith thing, honestly, not to be a beta, but it kind of scared me because the way I look at the current landscape, the way that modern people communicate, it's kind of scary because like any NPC, even taken out, I'm talking about real life. I'm not talking about my YouTube persona.
Mhm.
Me in real life, when I have conversations with people, these people are so malleable and they're so uh they have little self-control and little self-identity. Like the NPC thing, it's not hyperbolic when guys on YouTube talk about NPCs, it's actually true. So I fear no, no, and Mr. X, again, Mr. X, I'm not
Hyperbolic,
trying to be
man.
funny. I'm
How
saying
many times
if
you gonna
I
use
yeah,
hyperbolic, man?
yeah, no, no, MD, seriously. For
All
instance,
right, what is
you
hyperbolic,
okay,
man?
MD, can I wrap it up in 10 words?
Define hyperbolic, man.
Okay.
You
When
ain't
I
getting
said
away with it.
hyperbolic,
You
I
said
meant
that, yeah.
oh, no, 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 seriously, seriously.
Yo,
Because
you are hilarious, bro. Yo, you got to define it now.
no
What?
MD, because I really I
No,
do
you got to
fear
define it, man.
NPCs.
How you
I
gonna
know I'm a
say
little
something?
funny.
Yo, look, how you gonna say a word, and you said it with like mad confidence?
Well, hyperbolic. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I could. Oh yeah, okay. Again,
So what is it?
I'm hyperbolic means inflammatory or exaggerating in an inflammatory way or a sensational way. So if I if I burn the
Okay.
fish in my
Uh,
pot, like
um,
when I was cooking dinner and I said, "Oh my god, I burned down my whole house." Like that's hyperbolic or or whatever. Like if a chick is a 6 out of 10 and I call her a 10 out of 10 and I'm like, "Oh my god, she's better than Denise Richards and Halle Berry. She's the best woman I've ever seen." I'm being hyperbolic. She's literally just a 6 out of
okay,
10.
that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. Okay, I believe you.
Yeah. Oh no, but like I was saying, I'm being serious, guys. I'm not trying to be funny.
All right.
I actually do fear NPCs because again,
Okay.
NPCs are the most susceptible people to Agent Smith taking them over and turning them against you. So I do think about that. The way I talk, the way I post on my social media, I think twice because I'm like, damn, I
Mhm.
don't know what Agent Smith is watching me. So that part is serious. I'm not being funny about that.
Mhm.
MD, I do when I listen to your streams,
Mhm.
I do think people underestimate when you kind of analyze the macro of society and how the masses think. I
Mhm.
think some people are kind of asleep at the wheel and they underestimate kind of how susceptible the masses are to control by the elites or by
Mhm.
people who have, platforms of influence. I think people, and again, I'm not a doomer. I don't think there's, I'm still kind of neutral. Maybe not optimistic, but I'm kind of neutral. But I think people do underestimate some of the potential, like, roads to dystopia in the next, 20 or 30 years.
Mhm.
Um, but I have an open mind to it. But go ahead. I'm sorry, MD.
Yeah, Mr. X, did you have anything?
No, no, I'm just listening on. It's well, what are NPCs exactly? I'm a little old school. So what are
Oh,
those
and
again?
Mr. X, an NPC, I just consider that a person that obviously like NPC is like a not what is it? Non-player I forget the acronym or
Oh,
the with the but it's just a blank template person that has no individuality. They have no uniqueness. They kind of go with the flow. They're a follower to the, like, okay, do you know those Americans who like fall in line with patriotism and stuff like that without even critically questioning it? Those are NPCs. You could have Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Ronald Reagan tell millions of people how to think and how to feel and what to believe, and they will unquestionably fall in line with it. Those are NPCs. The guys who were like, I don't really like Reagan. I don't really like Obama. I don't really like Trump. I don't really like those guys. They get stigmatized and they get pigeonholed into, oh, you're a weirdo leftist, or you're a weirdo anti-government dude, or you're this, or you're an extremist, or you're whatever, like, because you didn't fall in line with the establishment Democratic Party and the candidate that they wanted, or the establishment Republican candidate that most of the masses were falling for. But that, yeah, those are NPCs though. Yeah, they
I
have no
got it.
mind of their own. They're easily controlled.
Sure, I got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Cool. So how's Ganstar doing?
I think Gant's doing pretty good. I mean, medically, I know he's still. I think he's recovering from a surgery on. I don't know if it was a dental surgery or if it was a throat surgery or something, but it affects his voice. So I'm not exactly sure what surgery it was, but I'm mad he hasn't gone live in a while though.
No, all those guys are
Yeah.
gone. All those guys are gone. Even wheat waffles, he ceased to exist.
Oh Jesus Christ. Weed is a coper. It's, oh my God.
Um, you there, Mr. X?
Oh, I'm there. I'm here. I just want to make sure I didn't lose connection with you again and start over talking.
Yeah, yeah, it was just yeah, I'm gonna yeah, it was great having you on, man. I gotta tomorrow night, yeah, well, tonight we'll stream and yeah, I'll have a new topic, someone turns into Agent Smith, we know mental shields have to yeah, non-playable characters. That's yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
non-playable characters. That's it.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You take care,
Yeah,
Lieutenant.
man. Good
Yeah.
stream as always, guys. Shout out to
Everybody in the
Mr.
chat.
X. I know it's
Thank
been a while since we've been on the same stream,
you. All right.
same panel.
All right.
it's
Thank
all
you.
good. Good to
Oh
see you,
yeah.
man.
Take it easy.
All right.
Take it easy, everyone.